I can't put my hair in a ponytail. Wow, the best I've ever looked in my whole life.
You're working it.
I look like a who.
A who? From Whoville?
God, story is the weirdest word I've ever seen. Look at that. S-T-O-R-Y? What a funny word.
This is where you look at the word and it looks weird.
It looks like it's Norwegian. It like is Scandinavian. All of our funny things are actually incredibly sad. We're like, wouldn't it be hilarious if Ryan's girlfriend invalidates the death of his mother? Wouldn't it be hilarious if Ryan's dad calls Trey the son he never had when he does have a son?
Like maybe he's like driving high or something. No, that's not funny.
What if Evan gets high and kills everyone in a motor vehicle accident? Alex just looked at me and he was like, oh my God. Evan, what's something funny that Evan can do?
Oh my God, my arms are so pumped. I have never had such pumped forearms. Oh my God. They feel like, what's a good metaphor? They feel like, I don't know. That's kind of a gross, what I was about to say was kind of gross. I've never filled a sausage before, but it feels like the casing in a sausage is like too filled and it's going to burst. And my arms feel like that. I feel like my arms are going to explode, just like my forearms. It hurts. It's so weird.
Okay, here are some episode ideas. And in reality, I'm sure these will turn into more like A-plot, B-plots.
A-plot, B-plot. Katie, look at this. Look at this little right here. And then look at these images.
It's so little.
This is like where we would go sometimes for summers. This is what it looks like. This picture right here. This is exactly what I remember it being.
That is perfect.
That is the town. And then there's like all these like I've walked up and down these streets like drunk before.
It looks just like, what's it called? Is it called Flagler, Colorado?
It's so tiny. Like, that's probably like my cousin's house. Like, no joke.
Oh my goodness.
I know that church.
Dude, okay. Look, I'm gonna screen share and show you because it looks just like Flagler, Colorado, where I would go in college on a thing called Losers Retreat.
Oh my God. Flagler?
Mm-hmm.
The population was 154 in 2010.
154?
Yeah, I'm not even kidding. That's like how small. When I said my extended family's from a small town in North Dakota, I'm not kidding.
Well, it is totally based on that. Because look, same thing. Here's little tiny Flagler.
Look at that I-70 diner.
And then look at it. I have same thing. I've walked all around this whole town. Look at that. Yep.
That is exactly what I had in mind. Yep. A friendly, caring historian.
Look, boyhood home of the author Hal Borland. Like,
oh my God,
look,
that's cute.
It is cute.
Ryan Hazel.
She's probably in the pilot. Evan's also like, I'll work there too, Janessa, and she goes, that's okay.
Yeah, like what if she's so what if she's so insane that when she's like, you didn't get me a gift, she like just starts breaking shit. Like she's crazy.
He's got like a huge glass dining table and she just like hulks out.
While he's on the phone about his mom dying, she's in the background just shattering things.
Because like a running gag could be like Ryan checking his voicemail and it's like Trina, and he listens and it's just like
Trina's fucking crazy.
I thought I
back.
Was moving too.
Oh, and she moves to Rogers.
Like she's like, babe, I'm here.
That's kind of funny.
Because he's more than a fling. He's a lover, right?
I don't know.
Fixing a few connections.
Is lover weird?
Yes.
The more I think about it, it was a summer fling.
And Eric is so young. Okay.
Lovers.
Well, we kept We kept laughing and we were like,
Lovers.
lover feels too
They're
adult.
lovers.
Lori and Paul are lovers.
Correct. They are adults who bang.
Because are they going to be like, wow, Kitty and Joey, they text the whole time they're in class and they make fun of blind people?
Shut up. No, they're not.
Oh, yeah, we never had to say lover. We could have just said Griff.
Oh, God. We're so annoying.
Dramatic. We're like, his puka club.
We're like on thesaurus.
Lover!
Like, lover? What other words are there for lover?
Oh my goodness.
Like this.
Yeah, because she's like, Lori's students are always so careful
Yeah.
around me.
Yeah. Ooh, I like how you worded that. Lori's students are always so careful. So sad. That's so
sad.
funny. How do you like it, Griff?
It's like our last show. We're like, what if his mom dies and his girlfriend doesn't care? What if Eric gets punch filled and his boyfriend, who he won't let be his boyfriend, has to come mop it up because he's a janitor? We're so horny for these teenage boys.
What a song.
Call Me By Your Name who?
I still haven't seen that movie.
I haven't seen it either.
Because didn't we say he's supporting his grandma?
He's her sole caretaker.
Yeah. But he was away all summer, so... What do we do?
Dear Eric, we were not expecting Tommy's baseball team, the Bridgeport Build-A-Bears, to get into the championship. But he did. Can't you just picture him on one of these babies?
Sexy.
This one's called a Clean Freak. Cleanfreak.com.
Ooh. Who knew custodial work was so sexy? I almost don't want to even write funny actions that happen on these, but because I'm like, what's so funny about Eric goes to make amends with Griff? Heartbroken.
Fernsby gets on stage to announce the homecoming king and queen, but is booed off stage. Eric,
why?
Because they're going, ooh, it's stinky in here. Ooh, something stinks. He's just like,
What are we about to watch that we are so excited for?
GMM.
And
I don't know.
Big Mouth.
Oh, Big Mouth.
Both. We're gonna have our Friday night
I forgot
showtime.
that that's what I just said before you went to the bathroom.
Is it?
That's what you said at the one place, I think.
I said it before we went there.
Oh,
I said, you want to go there? You want to watch that? And then you said, we gotta go to the...
P-A-R-K.
Yeah. If we say it, the dogs get too excited. And even though they
Even
do...
though we were just there.
But they don't care.
No.
They could go over and over all day long. I did my 1,000 jump ropes.
I witnessed it. I verified.
Yeah, and I hurt the absolute crap out of my finger yesterday. Maybe broken. I don't think so. I think it'd be more swollen, so I'm not like gonna worry about it yet. We'll decide tomorrow if I should be worried.
Yeah.
It is not feels terrible. Anyway.
Tell them how.
It's so embarrassing.
Because that's what everyone's thinking.
So
You hurt the crap out of your finger? What'd you do?
yesterday we decided to go on a late night Taco Bell run.
I'm not gonna stop eating. Deal with the noise.
Oh. Yeah, and I would never ask you to because that's not something that bothers me. But if it's something that bothers you,
Sorry.
sorry.
Enjoy the mukbang.
So we went on a late night Taco Bell run yesterday because Joey was talking about it on his stream and we got all inspired and excited. So we were like, we gotta go. And then we were like,
Inspired
it'd be fun.
and excited. I felt hungry.
Well,
Just hearing
I know,
Joey
but
talk
it's like,
yeah, we're gonna get Taco Bell after this. And he said it like 3 times. I could, you know,
well, because he asked
we
his
can
roommate.
will through the first time. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no.
And then
Taco
he's
Bell.
like, hey, Justin, you want to get Taco Bell after this? And Justin was like, definitely, let's get Taco Bell after this. And then he's like, hey, everyone, what's your Taco Bell order? You know, and everyone's talking about it. And then we were like, we got to go right now. And then we were like, this will be fun. Let's bring the dogs in the car just to like get them to get out and have some fun. So we did, and it was really cute and fun. Spunky's a pro in the car. I think her like foster mama used to take her in the car all the time, because in her ad on her description on All Paws Matter, they described her as like the world's best co-pilot or whatever. So she really is. She's like really good in the car. Honey's not as good in the car, but she had fun. Anyway, we were getting out of the car when we got back home, and Honey had gotten out with Alex, but then saw that I was in the car, so she got back in the car. And then she like came up and tried to go out through the front door, and I had just closed my car door. Like I had just turned around to slam it, and then I saw her little head poke out, and I so didn't want her to get hit in the face that I threw my hand in there and just slammed the crap out of my thumb. And it hurt really bad. My immediate thought was like, it's broken. It was just like a hot radiating pain, and I was like, I broke my thumb. And then I started to get all anxious because of who I am as a person, and I was like, oh my God, if it's broken, I'm gonna have to like go to a doctor, and I don't wanna go to a doctor right now because I don't wanna be exposed to people who have like had COVID.
And she's thinking this between car door and front door of the house.
Yeah.
And then the light of our house turns on, and I'm unlocking the door.
And I reach out because I'm gonna unlock the car, and then all of a sudden I look, and I'm kind of going,
yeah,
because I'm like breathing, because I'm like, dang, this like hurts really bad. And so I'm kind of like doing some like pain breathing, like, and then like I look down because the motion porch light comes on, and I look, and my hand is like covered in blood, and I
like
just
blood
was like,
drips down in front of the door.
And it's all over all of my hand, all of my fingers. It's just like my whole hand is covered in blood, and I was just like. So then, because I had already been thinking like, oh my God, it's broken, I'm gonna have to go to the doctor, I'm gonna be exposed to people with COVID, I'm incredibly anxious as a person. So I spiral. But then, and I'm not typically squeamish with blood, so, but I am squeamish about, like anytime that I've bled and not been expecting it, because sometimes you get hurt and you know it's gonna bleed, like if you get hit in the nose, or if you get a cut, like if I cut myself with a knife or something, I'm not squeamish, because I'm like, well, of course that's gonna bleed, I cut myself. But any unexpected blood, like, makes me feel freaked out. Or if I see someone get cut or hit in the nose or something, I'm like, I'm expecting it. But it was just like the surprise mixed with me thinking that I had broken it and that I was gonna have to go to a doctor. I started being like, is bone exposed? You know, like I just really spiraled. I just really spiraled, and all of a sudden I was like, I'm gonna pass out. So I just walk myself over to the sink over there, and I just stick my hand out, and I just put my head down on the counter, and I say, will you wash my hand out? Will you wash my hand out?
I don't think you asked. I just came over.
No, I definitely asked.
Are you sure?
I'm 100% positive.
Oh.
Because I couldn't look at the cut. Because I had convinced myself that bone was exposed. Because I just like had spiraled myself into this like weird place where I was like, hey, will you wash? And I had my eyes closed, and I was like, will you wash?
All of this nonverbal.
Oh yeah, I didn't say any of my
So again, from like car door to sink.
Yeah, so I was.
Is her spiraling, and I'm like, wow, that must have really hurt. And she's like, there's exposed bone, I'm gonna die of COVID.
Right. And I didn't say
I
any
don't
about
know that.
Of course not. You don't say your crazy thoughts, you keep them. But
No, some people do.
do they?
Some people would be walking in and be like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to go to the emergency room, and you know, and I'd have to be like talking you down. It's not like that. You're
No,
quiet
I'm
the
dead
whole
quiet
time.
the whole way. My hand gets hit, and I go, and then I said, I hit my hand and it hurts really bad. I think I did say that out loud. Or I closed my hand in the car door and it hurts really bad. And Alex like makes a joke like, what did you do that for or something? And then I'm not talking, I'm just going, I'm not breathing heavy, it's just like sharp. And then I'm like spiraling in my head, quiet, quiet, quiet. And then we get to the door and Alex is like, well, give me the keys to open the door. And I hadn't said anything. And then I'm like bleeding, and then I go, and I close my eyes and I walk to the sink and I turn on the sink, I put my hand out. Maybe I didn't even turn the sink on.
I turned the sink on.
Okay, so I put
That's
my
why I
hand.
thought you just put your hand out and put your head down. I was
No.
like, I know where she's going.
No, I remember asking you to clean it out. Out loud, I go,
Yeah, because I had to warm up the water for you.
Yeah, I say, I need you to rinse my hand. And the water was running for so long, and I didn't say this out loud either. The water was running for so long that in my head I thought, I've lost all feeling in my hand. I've got nerve damage. He's been rinsing my hand out this whole time, and I can't feel it.
Nope.
That's really what
It just took that long to get warm.
Thank God I don't say the crazy stuff out loud. I just really keep it in there. And then he rinsed off my hand and I go, okay. But I'm feeling really faint at this point where it's like my head's down. I'm feeling the hottest I've ever felt in my life. Like, and I have a sweatshirt on and sweats and I'm like, oh my God, how am I gonna take my sweatshirt off? I'm gonna bleed all over it. I'm gonna faint before I can get it over my head. But I just like quietly go to the bedroom. I take my sweatshirt off. I lay down in bed and I close my eyes. And Alex brings me an ice pack without me asking. And then I go, will you give me a Band-Aid? And will you give me some ice to eat?
Oh,
and Alex
yeah,
was
he's like, give me some ice. I'm like, you already have an ice pack.
And I was like, to eat, to chew on. Because I read really recently that chewing on ice can help with an anxiety attack because it can be grounding. Because it like is an extreme temperature in your mouth. I'm assuming something hot could do it too. But like the ice in your mouth, all of a sudden you're like focused on that instead of whatever you're supposed to be focusing on. And then you have like a time period where you're like, I'm only gonna focus on this until it melts. It helped a lot. And then we had just gotten Taco Bell and I was like, I can't eat my Taco Bell, I'm gonna Ralph. Like I just really thought I was gonna vomit. So I didn't, I put my Taco Bell in the fridge.
You ate your taco.
Oh yeah, after like an hour.
Yeah.
Alex had fallen asleep and I was like, okay, I'll go eat my taco because a taco won't be good tomorrow. But burritos, Taco Bell burritos, I like to put them in the fridge and eat them the next day because I actually think they're better. Anyway, we're gonna watch GMM and Good Mouth, Big Good Mouth.
Good Mouth and Big Morning.
Here's why Big Mouth is the best. It's so funny. 2, every single episode has a message that even though this is an incredibly vulgar show, I'm like, how important—
Puberty is vulgar.
Puberty is vulgar.
Life is vulgar.
Yeah, but it's like, for me, every single episode is a moment of like, oh my God, I wish me and my friends would have all been watching this in middle school because it's about being in middle school. And it just would have like normalized everything and like opened up conversations. And maybe it wouldn't have, you know what I mean? But at least you would have watched it as a middle schooler and been like, oh my God, I'm not alone. Like, I'm not gross. I'm not crazy. This is just what middle school is like. And like, I don't know. It makes me like emotional. Like I was sitting there and freaking cried in the first episode of Big Mouth season 4.
Yeah.
They're talking about real
and if
things.
anyone who can't deal with like the vulgarity of it watches it, I'm sure that is gonna be the distraction.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be like, what? Katie's crying about this show that's full of like dicks and them saying cuss words and being gross and crass. And you're like, no. They're talking to kids experiencing that.
Yeah.
And giving them understanding and acceptance.
Yeah. And being like, your experience is normal and because that's the hardest part about being a middle schooler is that you're like, I feel so uncomfortable in my skin. I feel so not normal. I feel like I'm the only one going through anxiety, the only one going through shame, the only one who feels horny, the only one who's getting acne, the only one
Who's gross? All of the guy stuff, I told you. It was a little bit eye-opening for you. I'm like, that's exactly
where I
what
was like, oh my God, is that what
And
it's
you're
like?
Seriously, that's what it's like? Where
Yeah.
the hormone monster is just on your case all the time. And I'm like, 100%.
But also what a comfortable, like that's a way more
for you to watch and
comfortable-
be like, oh, Andrew feels like a piece of shit because of
Yeah.
how many times he jacks off in a day.
Yeah, and he feels bad. But it's like, that's how people
You're like, yeah.
But it's like, that's what being in middle school is like. And it's like, imagine if you did just let your middle school kid watch it. And it's embarrassing, but at least you can, then you have a tool.
You don't, as a parent, you don't have to watch it with them.
No.
Be like, hey, go watch it.
No, that's a nightmare.
Yeah, that would be terrible. But if
But
you're
just
like, yeah,
let
yeah,
your middle
no,
school
that's real stuff. Go
Just
watch
let
it.
your middle school kid watch it and then watch someone masturbate and then have to then masturbate. Because even though it's not sexy, they're just like reminded. Because that's what being a middle schooler's like.
They said boob.
There-
Gotta go.
There was slow-mo cartoon boob. Talking vagina. But for real, like as a middle schooler, that would have been like, especially for like female sexuality. I can talk about female sexuality all day long. It's so important to be like, oh good, it's okay to like have feelings, oh my god, about whatever, you know? It's so creative, it's so fast-paced, it's so funny, it's so vulgar, it's so honest. It inspires me about comedy writing.
Yeah.
You know, when Joey and I are writing stuff together, I'm like, no, forget it. You can have a hilarious joke with 3+ jokes a page and still be talking about important stuff.
Yes.
Period. Because I think sometimes people are like, oh, if you have like a sitcom, you can't talk about like stuff like this. And I was like, no, you can have a really, really, really serious topic like depression, anxiety, shame, and do it, and you can have it all. You can have it all in a show. And that's what I like. And if that's what I was gonna say. It's what an important tool to be able to talk about your feelings like with your friends as a middle schooler is to be like, I feel uncomfortable saying the words like penis or horny, or maybe you're okay with boner in a joking way, but it's like, if you're feeling shame about being horny or whatever it is, what a great tool to be like, oh my god, did you watch the new Big Mouth and that episode? And it's like, that was so funny and relatable. Like I felt exactly like that. And your friend is probably gonna be like, yeah, me too. That was not my experience. I would attempt to talk about stuff like that with friends and they would be like, oh, well, that's not my experience. And now as an adult, I'm like, hopefully they were lying, because it was like, I was always in a church context where they're like, oh, no, not me. I've never felt that way. You're alone in this. Which didn't help my experience, where I was like, oh great, I feel really alone in this, and now you're telling me I'm alone in this. But then we would talk to older people. Like I would talk to like someone if I was in middle school, I'd talk to someone in high school, or if like I was in high school, I'd talk to like a college student, and then college students would be like, oh, absolutely, what you're going through is incredibly normal. I have felt all of those ways. I've done all of those things. Yes, this is a universal experience. But if I tried to talk to someone my age or like a year younger, it was like, no, sorry, that's just you. And you know what? It's actually only one girl that did that. But that matters. And that just happened in the show. Is she was like, there's a girl and she's like, okay, I'm just gonna, she has like her anxiety mosquitoes flying around. She goes, okay, I'm just gonna agree with them now so that I can fit in, but I'm gonna remember this moment for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. You know? And that's how I feel about those moments when you have those girls. I don't know if boys have that, but like for me, it was like, yeah, one girl said I had a big nose. One girl said that I was alone in something when that was my fear. Like one person confirms your fear about your looks, or one person confirms your fear about your body or your sexuality or your whatever. And then for the rest of your life, you're like, I'm not normal, even though it was only one person. So that stuff matters. What you say to your kids matters. What you say to your friends matters. Be freaking nice.
Vlogmas rants.
Rants! Okay. Go watch Big Mouth. It's hilarious. So just get over it. It's good for you. That's what I think. I'm a fan.
And everyone else. That's kind of the important lesson too.
I feel like Queer Eye and Big Mouth, and they did a collab. They make the world a better place. Fight me in the comments below, but don't, because I'm fragile. Fragile like my thumb.